Hello, everyone, and hello, Linda. How are you doing? How's my boy Eric? Hi, Eric. I love you.
Eric has been with me since yesterday morning, and we're both fine. Thank you. Thank you for having us. And Eric sends you his love, as always. And
So
he
sweet.
knows, yes, he knows that you have a lot of questions and are looking for
Yes,
looking for some answers.
yes. Well, also today, I woke up to find Ringo, our black cat, our beloved black cat, very sick, and he's jaundiced and lost a lot of weight, so he's at the vets now. So pray for him, everybody. I don't think it's going to turn out well. I think he's probably got cancer. What do you
How
think?
old is he? How old is he?
He's 11 or 12.
I get this very strong feeling that he wants to go home.
I know. I know. He's miserable.
Yes.
So, and he's lost a lot of weight.
Mhm.
He's also lost a lot of muscle mass in his hind legs, which to me sounds like maybe cancer in the spine with mets to the liver, or the opposite, some sort of cancer with mets to the spine. So,
Yeah, well, you'll find out that pretty much, but I got that strong feeling as soon as I read your email myself that he's like ready. He's ready. I want to go.
yeah. Yeah.
Let me go. That kind of a feeling. He doesn't want to suffer.
No, I don't want him to either.
Yeah,
So
and
I
he
don't even
knows
know
that.
if I want to wait to the lab work, but I feel like I have to. So
You need that. Eric's saying you need that to satisfy yourself, Mom. So
okay.
he says, allow, he's showing me a chain. Allow it to work the way it's, like a chain on a bicycle, how it
Okay.
turns and turns. That's kind of what he's showing me. So
Okay.
allow the chain to turn as it should. He says, I know you'll make the right decision.
Oh yeah. Well, it's Lucas's cat, but he will make the
Yeah.
decision. But he doesn't want to be around if he gets put down. He doesn't like that. All right. As some of you guys know, I went to this wonderful vacation in Norway to see relatives, and one night I went on a little hike. 10 minutes was my intention. No more than just maybe 20 yards or 30 yards from our little cabin up above the tree line. But fog, whoosh, stopped
Our
it.
phone's acting up.
Oh, what's happened? Oh, yeah, I see that. All right, so, but and I was not dressed. I had a little long sleeve thing, a little down vest, and a light jacket, and DSW shoes and skinny jeans. Yay! And my glasses, which I no longer have. But this again, and one of our rules is you got to be able to see the cabin no matter where you go, so you can find your way back. Well, I couldn't see shit because the fog was so thicker, as the thickest I've ever seen, and I got disoriented and lost. So I was walking and walking and walking. I said, "Gosh, I think I'm lost." And I walked and walked. I said, "God, I think I'm in a pickle." And then I walked and walked and walked and walked, and I thought, "Wow, I'm in a serious pickle." And I walked and walked and walked. And said, "Oh my God, I might die." So anyway, the weather was horrible. It was 0 degrees Fahrenheit, really windy, and constant cold rain. And eventually I couldn't walk anymore. It was so cold, and I laid down on my side and just was begging for somebody to save me. And oh gosh, 17 hours went by, and then I'm like begging for somebody to rip my freaking soul from my body. The suffering was so horrible. Anyway, they did try to, I found out, I thought nobody was helping me. Of course, it felt so lonely up there, except for a moose came up behind me, and I just wanted to turn around and look at it, but I just couldn't. I lost my glasses. He's probably wearing them right now. But anyway, so I will film more about this later, but I want to ask Erik several questions. First of all, was it one of my exit points?
As answers it could have been, but it really wasn't, Mom. It really wasn't.
I know I didn't end up being one, but did I design before this incarnation? Did I design this as an exit point?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's just a free will, stupid mistake. Now, why did I go in the wrong direction other than that there was fog, or was that all the reason there was?
He says it was planned, Mom, but it's not what you're thinking.
Well, tell me.
Okay. What he's saying to me is to tell you that this was a moment in time for you to realize the true value of your life and life itself.
Oh, wow.
He says, and this is, and I'll read this to you. This is what he gave me yesterday. And he's here backing everything up, but he says, he's talking about you have this, he's laughing at me for looking at the paper. He's saying, come on, Linda, I'm here. You don't need to read it again. He's saying that in those moments, in those stressful moments that you live, Mom, when you're silent and you're on your own, he says, you are still being captured by my loss. It's making me want to cry. And he goes, you live through that, and it's still holding you back. It's still holding you back in so many ways. And he says, not in your work. He says, your work has really become your escape. But in those moments of solitude and silence, he says, you go right back to that place again in your heart. And he says, and he's telling me that oftentimes you wish to leave because it is unbearable. And he says, he's calling it this whole orchestrated movement that you just went through was to bring you to that brink so you could see that this is not what you want, that you could actually feel and know that you are not ready and you have no desire to leave. You don't want to follow me into the afterlife at this time because there is so much for you to do. So all of it, he makes me feel like this was all orchestrated to bring you to the point where you really, truly feared dying, to eliminate and alleviate those moments and those thoughts within you. You no longer will be part of those thoughts because you've actually lived that moment of choosing life or death.
Yeah, because I was thinking all sorts of things about how I would never be able to see this kid get married, this grandkid grow up, all that sort of things, of course. And it made me quite sad. But toward the end, I welcomed death. I pleaded for it. I mean, the suffering, nobody can imagine. It was awful.
And he wants you to know that he was there with you. You were calling on him. He heard, yes, he says, I heard your calls, Mom, and I was there with you.
Yeah. And
that one, what did you call it? That 1 meter or one place out of their search, area?
I was found 1 meter outside of their limits.
and he was the instrument that took them there.
Oh, good.
He was the instrument that took them there. He knew that you had all the emotional experiences involved in this whole event to release all that has been a prison within you since the day of his death.
Wow. Well, it's really weird because, I screamed and screamed, help me, a few exclamations there. But eventually I stopped even bothering, except at that last moment. For some reason, I think I was nudged maybe by you, Eric, I'm going to give it one more shot. And, I had not for a couple hours screamed for help, but I thought, I'm just going to try one more time. So I did, and then I hear, hello, and there's these beautiful bright orange vested Red Cross search and rescue people. Oh, God, they were awesome. Join the Red Cross. That's what I'm going to do. But anyway, so did you nudge me to scream again, or was anybody else on the other side involved?
He said he had his whole crew with him. Everybody was watching over you and keeping you safe. You didn't have any permanent damage caused by you at all. He's saying this was a release for you and on a level of emotions, psychologically, all of these other things. He says to release all these moments that other people don't realize that you are still having.
Yeah.
As a mom losing her son.
Yes.
Or a mom losing any child.
Exactly. So,
Exactly.
what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I have been get short of breath paradox, sort of just a paroxysm of shortness of breath since this happened. And I thought, well, it's the altitude, but now I'm in Houston. So I think that's just, I don't know what that is. I'm sure it'll just go away and it's not that bad.
He's saying it has something to do with the element of cold that your body dropped down to. Okay. And that repair work is being done on the lung tissues.
Okay.
Because,
all right, well, yeah, the blood gets very viscous, so I thought, well, maybe I just have little tiny micro emboli, little tiny blood clots that are, who knows.
Are in your lungs. And that's what he's saying. Your lungs they were compromised by he's telling me to tell you they were compromised by that low temperature that you were in, but you have self-healing going on. And he said, just maintain that self-healing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And you'll be fine. He says you'll be fine.
Okay. Did anybody, you or others, you nudged me, of course, to scream, but you nudged the rescuers to go a little bit beyond. Did anybody else in the family get nudged in any way in particular, or get any kind of guidance?
His sister Michelle, was she there?
No, she was home.
She was home, but there was. He's saying something about a.
Christina, your older sister, was there.
Okay, but right now he's just talking about Michelle. How when Michelle received the news that this was going on. I don't know if Michelle by nature is a panic type of a person, but he said he immediately covered her in calm and gave her the sense and the security that mom was going to be okay. This was going to work out okay.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah, he said he delivered that directly to her.
Anybody else? The people there was my husband, Christina, my eldest, her husband, Houston, and his parents, Lisa and Grant.
Mm-hmm. He's not saying too much about that.
Okay.
He's giving me a sense that they were really in a panic.
Yeah.
That those were with you were really, really in a panic.
Yeah.
And he's saying, Mom, I just want you to know that it's just like anything that we as humans go through, all these experiences, even these traumatic experiences, it's not just to affect the one that is the one person. Let's talk about you, not just you, but all those around you that love you. Not only just your immediate family, but the entire community by this event that you went through.
Wow.
All the prayers that came forth, all of the, I can tell you personally, when I read and all I got was a little tiny blurb that you had gone through a life-threatening situation, I can tell you how I personally felt. It's like you're that fear of losing that loved one in your life. And this is how it affected thousands of people. But it also gave them an opportunity to look at the preciousness of life. Yeah,
good. At least something came. I want something to come out of it for sure. But
yes,
and it was big news. It was all over the TV, the newspaper, all that kind of stuff. What should I have done differently to have been rescued sooner? Besides, carry a phone and all that. But after I was already in the trouble I was in, could I have done something different?
He says no. He said this. He says, I want you to look at this, Mom, as a purposeful moment.
Okay.
This was orchestrated. This whole thing was orchestrated to unfold the way it unfolded and to take you where it took you, is what he's telling me. In other words, you weren't supposed to find your way out. You weren't supposed to do all of those things that you think you should have done, right? It was an orchestrated moment in the life that you chose in your life. Hang on. In the walk, this all unfolded just as it was designed, is what he's saying. He's trying to simplify things for me. It unfolded exactly how it's where there was nothing that he's telling me to tell you, there was nothing that you could have done differently to have prevent those moments from occurring.
Okay. So it was kind of like an not a spiritual contract, but an orchestrated free will thing. Is that what you're saying? And was my
I don't
higher?
even get the free will in this one because he's telling me this was going to happen.
Okay.
The way it happened, the way it unfolded. I don't think you had, I guess maybe the only way it could have been free will is if you decided not to go on that walk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But so it was, in other words, it was orchestrated in this incarnation, not before the incarnation.
It was all a part of the path that you created in this life, just like
Okay.
the loss of his life. It was
Oh,
all
okay.
part of that. And you had reached this point on your path, okay, that you needed to have this experience, and you planned this experience in order to release the things that are still holding you prison and keeping you living the life that you need to live now.
Okay.
And it's all wrapped around the loss of Erik.
Yeah.
The whole thing was wrapped around that loss of your son.
Wow. Well, I do appreciate life a lot, my life, a lot more than I did. Because, I had been raised like, by horrible parents who pretty much told all of us that, our lives were, that we would never be enough, that kind of thing. But, I processed through a lot of that, I thought, and I liked myself. But yeah, I could totally get it. Now, somebody told my husband that I went to the intersection and then went to the right instead of the left when I actually went left. Is that true, or did my husband just misunderstand that person? Because then he concentrated all his efforts in the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction, right. No, he said the information that Dad got was the information that he was given. Again, purposeful.
So that I could go through this orchestrated thing. God dang it, couldn't you just send me the cliff notes? Give me a freaking memo? All right, what was the purpose for the moose? I was laying there, and I always love seeing moose. They're just so beautiful and elegant, the way they look so cumbersome and gangly and awkward, but they're so elegant in their movements, very graceful. And I heard one snuffling behind me, and I could tell he or she was eating the moss, and I so wanted to turn around and look at it, but then maybe he would have gotten
Look at my face. Look at my face.
Yeah, really. And then but I said, no, I can't. I didn't have any energy. But then I bought a new knife at this little shop that makes handmade knives. I was like, oh my God, I wish I had that, because I would stab it in the heart, slit up in his belly, and crawl into his abdomen to be warm. I mean, I thought some weird thoughts, man. It's like, oh my God, my 96-year-old father-in-law is gonna outlive me. Oh my God, I'm wearing Walmart panties. They're gonna find me dead in Walmart panties. That's not cool. Anyway, but yeah, what was the purpose for the moose?
He said he was sitting on the moose's back.
Oh.
That's why I'm laughing, because he's showing me this. He's showing me him straddling this moose, right? And like I can see his arms on the head of the moose as the moose is eating, and he's kind of like going like this. And he was there. That's how close he was to you, watching over you and protecting you. But that's what he said.
It seemed like the moose was super close to me. How far away was he?
What is he telling me? Like 6 or 8 feet.
Wow. Did he know I was there? I looked lifeless, so he probably didn't even,
He said I was in total control of the moose.
Oh, good.
He had him in his control.
Was it a female or a male moose?
I feel like it was a male.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think they tend to travel solo. Was it young?
The females stayed. Yeah, the females kind of stay together. So I think he's telling me it was. He said, "Mom, I'm sitting on it. It's a guy."
Oh, okay. Did it have horns, or was it too young to have horns?
He's showing me that there were horns, but it was a young one.
Okay. All right.
Like they hadn't reached their full rack yet.
Okay.
That he was young. He almost makes me feel like he's He's too young to have his own harem, is calling it.
Okay.
He's too young to have his own harem.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. So was there any purpose to his being with me? It doesn't have to be a purpose for everything, of course.
No, there isn't a purpose other than the fact that he was guided through Erik to be there.
I wish he had laid down next to me and warmed me up.
He goes, Mom, it would have scared the shit out of you and you would have tried to run away.
Oh, I couldn't run away.
Yeah.
Okay, so the purpose was why? Why did you want the moose there, babe? To what?
He just saying, I was just riding the moose. I wanted to be close to you.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Just one of those things.
Yep.
All right.
One of those things. Absolutely.
Okay, during the intense suffering, why was I not able to will myself out of my body? I was really just so desperate to unleash myself from this body that was wrecked and suffering, unbearable suffering. It's like every second was a year. Why wasn't I able to do that?
Because that wasn't part of your plan.
Okay, I figured.
I know. He says, I know mentally you wanted to be on the outside looking.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what
God, yeah.
Like you wanted to astral travel. You wanted to be out of your body so that you could, that's what he's telling me, that these were some of your thoughts, be out of your body so you could watch the event going on without actually experiencing that event.
I know. I mean, it wasn't like necessarily I want to die. It's like I want to be away from this body that's suffering so much. You know, I had my little thin jacket over my face because it was raining constantly and unseasonably cold. For this whole spring has been awful there. But I at first I saw on the jacket a person running by, so I thought, oh my God, there's somebody out there, and I, yelled for help. Hey, do you see me? Blah blah blah. But then I saw this lady with a brim hat and a long old-fashioned dress with cross-country skis on, skiing, and then other people playing in snow. So I knew, well, there's no snow. So, well, there was a patch of snow behind me, but what in the heck was that? Just hallucinations only, or was it? What was it? I don't know.
Okay, the woman he makes me feel was one of your ancestors that was there.
Okay.
I'm getting like a great grandparent, a great grandmother. Okay. I don't know if they were into skiing or not, but that's the feeling he makes me feel, that she was there by you. He's saying you had a huge crowd with you, even though you couldn't sense them being there. They were definitely there.
I saw different things. I thought, well, I didn't know if they were spirits from the other side. I mean, I saw them in my jacket on this little movie screen, but I also saw them like in my mind's eye, like my mother, my father, my mother-in-law, my sister Denise, Erik, of course, and things like that.
Yes, and what he's saying is he makes me feel like that first shadow that you felt when you had your hoodie over your face was eagle. It makes me feel like that was an eagle that passed you by.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there's eagles there or not, but that's how he's making me feel, that there was
there
was an eagle. Again, okay, this was an eagle passing you by. Again, he says, a sense of protection, a sense of magnificent, everything is going to be all right. That kind of a message with this eagle passing by.
Was it actual eagle or eagle in spirit?
I feel like it was an actual eagle.
Wow, it could be.
Eagle. I said eagle. An actual eagle that happened by.
Okay.
But was it? Yes, he's agreeing with me.
Okay.
Yes, it was an actual. Had you had your hoodie off and had your eyes open, he said you would be able to see it. So yes, but it wasn't just a bird; it was an eagle.
Oh, that's cool. Probably get horned type of eagle up there, and also I kept hearing a cuckoo bird, and my son-in-law said cuckoo bird. I didn't know it was a bird. I thought that was just a clock. But yeah, it's very rare to hear one, and much less to see one. So I always heard the cuckoo bird was always sounding near our cabin, our little cabin. And so I thought, well, maybe I can go
Follow the noise.
follow the noise, but I couldn't get up. Every time I got up, I'd face plant. I was just, I got bruises everywhere, man. So I did see loved ones from the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He said it was kind of like a, he's telling me to tell you it was like a life review.
Oh, wow.
Bringing all of these people back into your awareness, he's saying, bringing all these people back into your awareness. And with having them come back into your awareness, you are revisiting things that you have already released, he's telling me, things that you have already released, leading you to those things you had not released so that you now can release them.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So my grandmother, Nana, on my mother's mother, used to work for the Red Cross. Did she have any, because of that, did she have any particular part to play? Or was she just one of the people in the sidelines cheering and rooting me on?
Yes, she was. He says he's pretty much taking credit for the actual finding of you.
Yes, I'm sure.
That's me. And he's actually making me feel like he's the one that kept them from finding you as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks a lot. But no, I know I had to go through that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What part did my grandmother have to play then? As being part, just nothing. I mean, just happened to be that she used to be a driver for the Red Cross, and really, that's just an incidental.
That's what he's telling me. That's just a coincidence.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else helped me from the other side in a particular way, or were they just in the sidelines, just giving me?
They were observers. He's telling me that they were observers.
Okay.
Okay. Watching the whole.
I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching the whole event, knowing the results of the event, and knowing the purpose of the event. They were observers and watching the event. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And also there was an element of being love that was being sent to you, that you were recognizing an element of love. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because otherwise I felt so alone. I felt nobody was watching me. I started thinking these horrible things like, oh my God, maybe my husband has an insurance policy on me, and it's like stupid stuff.
Oh no, just leave her out there.
Yeah, it's like, or if I live and come back and find out he finished painting the windows, then I'm going to be pissed. Dumb things like that. The things you think. They're just crazy.
They are, he says they are crazy because a lot of it has to do with deprivation of the brain, especially when your blood flow is starting to slow down. He says, but the thoughts that you were getting were legitimate thoughts in the sense that you were keeping your mind active. That was a way that the body protects itself, to keep it active rather than you falling asleep, going to sleep, and allowing your brain to fall asleep.
Yeah.
That activity helps keep you awake. It helps keep you from falling into that. And so many people, like he's saying to me, so many people, that's how they die, because they fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and shivering. And the shivering was so violent. It's like you shiver, and your eye, what you're looking at just goes back and forth. It's like I'm still so sore. I have to lift each leg up if I want to cross my leg and stuff like that, because the shivering,
the muscles.
Yeah, but
the intensity of the shivering. Yeah,
that keeps you alive too. But then toward the end, I started feeling warmth in my chest, and my shivering slowed down, and that is not a good sign, man, because it's a sympathetic reaction or nervous system reaction or something, and that's what happens. A lot of people will have this paradoxical undressing because they feel so hot even though they're not. There's one little kid in a town nearby, the ambulance people told me, that was 10 years old. He got separated from his group in minus 20-degree weather, and they found him 6 months later.
Oh my gosh.
Under a tree, completely naked. He had taken off all his clothes. Of course, he probably didn't suffer for 17 hours. He probably I'm sure he didn't last 20, 30 minutes. So, because minus 20 is pretty bad. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so that meant I was really, really close to death. And why in the world did I have to get that close? Because it would make more of an impact on me from what we've been talking about?
Yes.
Okay, I figured.
A much greater impact, Mom, for you to live.
Oh, okay. Now,
Right.
my husband and I went walking to try to find, I wanted closure to find the place that I was in. They
That you
told,
went off.
yeah, they told rescuers that I was found here, whatever. But you know, when I finally found that patch of moss, and I recognized it because I could see a tree line while I was laying down on one side, a giant lake on the other side, a patch of snow on that side, and a big mountain on the other side. Not a mountain, but a big tundra covered hill. And my husband was floored. He says, "Oh, because it's such an obscure place. It's not like a known mountain like Oysterhovet or whatever. It's just this little nothing, this little nub. It's not called Elisa Haugen. Haugen means kind of a nub." And he says it's a miracle that you were found at all. This is the middle of nowhere. You were lost, girl. You were lost, he said.
You were
So,
lost. However, he was showing me earlier when we were talking, he was showing me what was behind you.
mhm.
And that's the tundra wall, or like,
Yeah,
it's like a mountain, but
yes.
it's right. And that's where the moose was behind you, up
Okay.
against that. That's the
Okay.
area where the moose was.
I mean,
But he's also, yeah, he's
well,
also
kind of far away, but yeah.
he's also telling me, but that tundra helped break a
Oh,
lot of the natural elements that would have been
even worse. Yeah.
you would have been subjected to if you were out in a clearing.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it was
Okay.
kind of low down, and that makes sense because the moose really try to stay out of the elements low down, protected by the larger hills and stuff. So anyway, that really affected my husband. Then it sort of became real for him that I was just, you know, that there must have been divine intervention, he said, pretty much. And there
Yeah,
was, Erik.
it was. It absolutely was. And that's what he's saying. He wants me to remind you that this event was not just for you.
Yeah, exactly.
The end results is really, it was all orchestrated so that you could let go. So you could let go of him in that sense. Okay. So that it doesn't hold you captive anymore, that you're, that you know that you want to live, that you know that you can't go back to those places anymore. He doesn't want you back in those places anymore, in the place of silence where you retreat into all by yourself as a mommy. And he says he doesn't want that for you anymore because there's too much for you.
I don't either. It's a waste of time anyway. So is there anything any lessons for example, my husband?
Mm-hmm. It is.
What lessons for him?
For Dad, he's saying for Dad, it's like a renewing for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a renewing for him. He goes, Mom, anybody that's been married as long as you and Dad, you guys need renewings every now and again.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But this is a deep, deep, heartfelt renewing for him because he had to go through that fear of you not being there, that fear of his life changing so terribly drastic without you there. He goes, losing a child has a different set of elements to it than losing a spouse. Yeah. And he says he was able to live all of those things himself. And he's saying to me, you know how stubborn Dad can be. And you know that he has a very strong, like a very strong mind, that he could put things aside. He says he's really good at living in the now. He's like, okay, I'm not going to get all hung up by this until I know how it's going to turn out. He said he wasn't able to do this with us.
Oh, wow.
He went there. He visited all of this.
He's so strong. He's just really a strong guy. Is there any lesson for him surrounding assumptions? Because he seems to assume that he tends to make assumptions. Like, for example, we wanted a long time ago, wanted to go to a hotel in San Antonio, take the kids down the river walk. And I said, we better book our hotel. Nah, It's unnecessary, unnecessary. So are you sure? Really? Blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to give my credit card number to anybody ahead of time. So we went and there was no hotel because there was a big, so he tends to make these assumptions, and he did a little bit that too. He assumed that the police shouldn't report it to police for a number of hours because they wouldn't accept the missing persons, but they do in that kind of, element, dangerous element. So is there any lesson to be learned for him
I
on
am
that?
on assumptions, yeah. What he's showing me is this, and maybe this will make sense to you. He's showing me a heart and pieces peeling back. Pieces peeling back off that heart. So he's not giving me a clear answer that this is going to help with him in that way, but he's showing me these pieces peeling back away from a heart.
Yeah.
So
little bit by little bit, we all are works in progress, and he is such an awesome man. I love him so much, and I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to see him again or kiss him again. It was just awful.
And he was going through the same thing. That's what he's saying. Yeah. Mom, he couldn't handle assumptions in this case. He actually had to visit all of the fears of not having you there.
Yeah. Okay, so what can I do to heal? I mean, my husband and I decided, of course, we're going to join the Red Cross, and we're going to give, probably already have given a big donation, but is there anything, I mean, the survival expert said, the doctor said, you're going to have PTSD. Everybody does. And my husband and I, well, we've already been through the worst, and, that turned out bad. Erik died. Of course, eventually turned into something good. This, at least I've survived. I'm elated. There's no way I'm going to have PTSD. But yeah, I mean, I had nightmares and all, just those kind of things. And my husband last night, when he was in twilight state of dream, he felt all of my emotions at that time, my physical, everything that I experienced up there on that little nub.
Right. He's the one that's experiencing the PTSD.
Yeah. Well, I think I am too.
Yeah.
I have nightmares and stuff, but maybe he's his worst. But so what can we all do to heal better besides, getting involved, turning it into something positive, like I did with Erik's death? I heal best when I.
Uh-oh, I lost you.
Awful. Oh. Now? Good? You have me now? Linda, you hear me?
She's coming back. Let's see.
Oh. Can you hear me now? Oh, you're kind of frozen. Let me see. Mute. Can you hear me? Linda? Okay, I'll pause it and then restart it, okay? That's weird. Let me see. All right, we'll pause.